You know what that is? That's
Well, it kind of had the same progression as Revolution by Bob Marley, but
I didn't think about that. That's Bill Withers. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. You know, that's that. Ain't no ain't no sunshine when she's gone. That's a bit like a lazy profile. That's what he does. Anyway, I'm messing around with it, you know, quarantine.
Hey, I'm just sitting back watching a professional at work, my friend.
Oh no, man, that's just me. Play music, bro.
I'm just happy to have Butta Murphy in the building, Delante Butta Murphy.
Oh man,
Oh, that's a story behind your back right there. Them planks back there.
Oh yeah, excuse me while we on this interview because of course my dog is begging for food. I think.
It's all good.
Food, cause food in there.
Different times right now. Quarantine interviews getting real interesting, dog. Like you never know what you might see on a quarantine interview.
Right. All right, I'm back, man. Sorry about that.
You know thing.
Yeah. So what is popping?
Nothing much, dog. Just learning every day and being an entrepreneur.
Right. Hey, man. Aren't we all?
And thank you for coming on the platform. First off.
No problem.
When I went to homecoming this year, I just started meeting a lot of people at this age now. It's like, man, everybody's they may have, even if they got an 8 to 5, they either got a side hustle, they got something else going on, or they have come to that realization that they need to go and do whatever it is that they were put on.
Right.
I did it because corporate America kind of pushed me away in this way. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time to go see if I can do this on my own because I got the skills to meet them. So I've been meeting a lot of people like that, and you, ever since I've known you, you've already been on that level. When I met you, I think you were just moving to Atlanta, right?
Right. Probably like within a year, yeah.
Yep, because I know the Trey project was going on when I met you around that time.
Yeah, second album. Yeah, Trey Day.
So I've had the opportunity or the privilege to be able to see you even from the sideline, just being able to just watch you and see how you move and stuff, and it's been inspirational to me.
Oh man, that's cool.
And knowing, you know, it like just how the music industry has changed over the years, and you've been able to be in the industry to see those changes, and you've had to evolve and adapt to those changes. One of the things.
I mean, what's simple? I mean, I think like any of us, you know, I think music is just something that's just inside of you. And a funny story is, I didn't grow up with my biological father. My stepfather raised me. There was no musical people in the house. There was no musical cousins. There was nobody in my circle of family and cousins that was really musical. So it was something that I was drawn to. My first recollection of it was like 5. Like I remember maybe somewhere between 5 and 8. And I saw this show called New Kids Incorporated. Fergie was on that show. I forgot the other guy name. There's another guy that was on there that actually got a deal later, that little kid that was on there. But it was about a group of these kids that was doing cover songs of popular pop records and, you know, at a soda shop. And they would, you know, little story behind it. Kind of like Saved by the Bell with a band, right?
Morning, right?
Yeah. So I liked the show, and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I just remember writing them, and where they had their CDs. Back then, all CDs and cassettes came from Richmond, Virginia. I have no idea why, but I wrote some long letter to, which I thought was them. It wasn't a fan club. It just went to where you would buy the CD. So somebody opened in the mail was like, what the hell is this? But I remember always loving it and just putting myself around music, no matter what, going through my father's records. Cousin left me a box of hip hop records, which was my first introduction to truly hip hop, was her old records in her room, which was a lot of Sugar Hill Gang, stuff like that, a lot of go-go records. And then I just put myself around music from there. Like when it was time to pick an instrument, as we all did in elementary, I wanted to play guitar or piano. That wasn't offered. You had to play like a woodwind instrument. I ended up playing trumpet. I should have picked the saxophone, but I did trumpet, and I played that for years. And go ahead. Yeah. And I played that for years. And that's pretty much, I just put myself around anything musical. So from that, went to, hooking up with my homeboy. He played trumpet, and another guy played trumpet. And then one guy, mother bought him $3,000 worth of equipment. Back then, you're talking like 80 something, which was crazy. I think it was a Yamaha DX100. Yeah. And it was a drum machine and a sequencer. And back then it was very expensive. And his mother invested in him, and we would make, tapes and cassette tapes, rapping and learning how to produce. And then I ended up getting my way into a performing arts high school singing opera, which I can't say.
Wow.
But it was a free education, and they didn't have a music business performing arts thing. You either had to have a talent. So I picked singing, and I remember the lady was like, okay, it's your funeral. And I was like, I get it. But I learned music theory, opera, all type of modes of music for free. And it was a free education. So from there, I ended up going to Hampton University because Teddy Riley was, about 25 minutes from Hampton University in Virginia Beach. And he was the biggest producer at the time. We're talking Remember the Time, probably around that time, Rump Shaker, but of course the whole New Jack Swing era. And he was the biggest super producer at the time at that point. So I went to go to school to be near him. And I said, one day I'm gonna meet him. And long story short, while I was there, I did meet him, and I ended up working for him. And I ended up working on the Blackstreet No Diggity album, or the Another Level, right? and throwing parties. So I just put myself in the mode, just around it, man. Just watching one of the best to ever do it, and create these records in front of me. I think one of the dopest memories I have of Teddy was being in the studio. And I remember he did You Belong to the City with Jay-Z. I think that was the second album I was there, but he was doing the remix to Janet Jackson with Blackstreet, I Get So Lonely. And he had got the SSL board with the first flying faders that was automated. Now we could do this all in Pro Tools and no problem, but back then this was a big deal. And he had Pro Tools back then as well, but it was a very expensive, primitive version of it. And I remember sitting there seeing the faders flying and the horns he did. I was there when he did the whole record. I was sitting there the whole time, and that just really made I got to do this for the rest of my life. Like there's no alternative. Like there's no better high than this. Seeing something like this done, man. And there's a lot of stuff in there. I was an intern for Def Jam. Another intern and another part of the East Coast was Kevin Lau. So we were both interns at the same time. He was a way older intern. I was only 18. So I got a chance to see it from the marketing and promotion standpoint. Redman, I helped break Redman's first album, which was dope. Onyx, all those artists, I got a chance to take around and get their records played on the radio and in clubs and stickers and promoting and making people aware of the situation. So I did that. And that's kind of where I got my start in a nutshell. That's kind of where it happened.
It looks like things are kind of, that's what kind of how the universe led you,
right. And I believe in that universe. A good statement you said, man. People always ask me, my kids, just people always asking me, what do you think? And I was like, man, the universe talks to you. It's up to you if you want to listen. And it's scary sometimes because when the universe is telling you to do something and the universe not giving you a direct plan, but if the universe is truly talking to you, it will provide, it wants you to be successful. And I don't listen to all these books, The Secret. I didn't even look at none of that. So when I heard bits and pieces of it, I was like, well, that's how I live my life, right? So I was like, okay, then somebody just tapped into what somebody who's tapped into themselves and in the universe and God. And when you tap into that, you'll move. There's a lot of moves that it made sense, but didn't make sense to people. Me leaving Virginia as a big fish in a small pond to go to New York to struggle. But I knew that the universe wanted me to go to New York so that I could become better and be around people who was right on the same level. So I listened. When the universe said move to Atlanta, I got here right before the rest of everybody else from the North was really trying to run down here, which kind of put me in a position to gain the trust of a lot of the Atlanta guard, right? From the Jermaine Dupri's to the Jonte Austins, to the Brian Coxes, to the Ushers, to all them, and really respecting and showing much respect to Outkast, to all of them. I mean, just knowing them and being on Camels and being in the hood, and they were like, no, man, you cool. You one of us. You respect. You're not one of these people trying to take from us. You're trying to put back. So that would have been a couple of years difference, that I would have been looked upon as anybody moving from New York coming down here trying to, take over this great situation.
Right. Yeah. Right place, right time. And you took advantage.
Right.
You took advantage.
Right. So that was about it. So, yeah. Man, coming from New York at that time, and I was managing Trey and all that stuff, but up there, I lived in a very expensive building around a lot of other races. It wasn't but 2 Black people in my building overlooking the city. So even though I felt like I had conquered New York from sleeping on the floor when I first got there in 1999 December to 04, 05, sitting in a high-rise condo overlooking the city and got an artist signed to a record label and cars and all this stuff, I just still felt very empty because I'm from Maryland, Washington, D.C. So I grew up around African-American people that had, good paying jobs in a middle class thing. And even though I was in a higher class situation, no one looked like me. No one wanted to, they speak, but not really speak. So when I came here to do records, while I was living there, imagine I'm kind of in Atlanta, and Atlanta kind of gave me Maryland, but a different flavor of it, a very cohesive, very supportive group of people. So I was like, dude, I need to feel that again. And that was one of the things that I loved about Atlanta. So I might have looked at it a little differently than most coming from New York at that time.
Right. Yeah, Atlanta seemed to be everything you wanted it to be. Because,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely is Wakanda. I mean, in many senses of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, shucks, I came from Louisiana, and I came here and never left. Came here in '94 and never left. So, yeah, you
right. Right. So it's pretty cool, man. Atlanta's good, man. I mean, not even getting off subject, but I mean, even with the mayor shutting down the city when the rest of the state didn't, and saying, well, I can control what I do in Atlanta City, and shutting it down and really begging the governor and other mayors and people in other counties to do the same. And the reason why our healthcare system is not overworked as in other places is because she did shut it down 2 or 3 weeks early. And that was she saved a lot of lives.
Exactly, man. She should be definitely commended for that, man. I mean,
absolutely.
You say, and you just said, coming off subject. No, this is very much the subject, because right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, man. We're living through history that will be written down and never forgotten.
Right, absolutely.
And when we're not going to do a lot of things the same again, ever.
Never.
So this is a very relevant conversation as well. I was about to, just over these last few, has it been a month? These days been running together.
It's almost 3 weeks. I think we've been on lockdown here in Atlanta for the city, which I'm actually in the city. Zip code is, I think it's been almost 3 weeks, maybe going on 4 for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I know that has basically changed I know you've had to evolve quick. to keep things moving in
Yeah.
industry standpoint. So, what are some of the things that you've already seen that you know is going to be permanently impacted when this is over?
Well, I think a lot of people are not going to survive. Like, I mean, studios now, it's funny. I just talked about being in Teddy Riley's studio and seeing him remix the Janet Jackson song, I Get So Lonely. But for me, when I signed Trey, there was a unique situation because Pro Tools had just got to the point where it could be on your laptop. So when we did his first album, it was done on a laptop in the basement of Troy Taylor's house in Jersey when he was living in Jersey. And we like recording from home, right? Which was kind of unheard of. Everybody wanted to be in the big studio, and we kind of all banded together. It's like, no, we're going to do all of this in the house, right? So we kind of got spoiled. People used to frown upon us like, come on, go spend the money, go in the studio, you got a budget. But we was doing it for nothing in the basement of a house, and it sounded great. And it taught me a lesson that you didn't have to be in the big studios. Now everybody has succumbed to that. So everybody's recording at home. So for me, it wasn't a big adjustment because most of my guys, even though I got this office and a studio, most of my guys had their own setup. So a lot of it was going by their house or either calling them on FaceTime and they let me hear a record and me saying change this and change that. They'll change it, send it back, you know what I mean? Email it to me or text me on the phone and I go, great, but change this. So it's pretty much the same for me. I mean, it's really about ears and talent and just guiding people the right way. Now the downfall to that is this. Because we've had an explosion of home studios and people being able to even record hit records on their iPhone, it takes away people being in a room with other musicians and writers and learning things that you don't know. And they'd be like, whoa, you can do this chord if you do that and you learn it, or, oh, if you would have sung this, so why don't you try this? And that really is like iron sharpening iron. And even from the music production, musicians to the recording tricks, you don't get it when you're sitting. Now that's kind of done through YouTube, but you're not in the moment.
YouTube University.
Right. So that to me is what we miss. And I think the quality of music has went down because we're collaborating, but in the new sense of collaborating. You got a lot of producers that'll start a beat, send the files to another producer. And I've noticed on a lot of hip hop stuff, it'll be 3 or 4 producers that probably never even met, you know what I mean, in person. Basically sessions around and added stuff to it. And, you know, I just think we got to get back. I think Organized Noise, just because we're in Atlanta, was so dope because you got all these talented guys in a room from different influences, bringing all type of stuff together in the moment. And I think that's the difference.
Yep, you got it. That's that organic gumbo, boy.
Exactly. And I think we need to get back to that. How will we get back to that in a time of coming out of Corona and people not feeling, you know, concerned? I don't know. I think the rappers themselves would do it because now they're going in the studio with a folder of beats and they got all their homies in there, you know, which is fine, smoking weed, drinking, chicks. So it's more about the internet, the instant IG aesthetic of recording than it is really about getting it done.
Right. How quickly can you produce yourself live?
Right, or just, you know, you got my crew behind me. So it looks like a video when you're posting that you're in the studio. And I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but if you really look at Instagram, it used to be you in the studio, it's just you and one other person. Now it's 8 or 9 people sitting on the thing and around, rah, because it's an Instagram moment more so than it is about all these people in that room is contributing to a record.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So that's a little different than that. So it's cool. Yeah. I like to keep it in the house and with a couple of talented people. I just did a session with Notori. That's Tasha. She plays Tasha on Power. And I'm working on a project with her. And she was just floored by coming into a studio in a house, which looked like a big studio actually, but it was in a house. But it was 15 people probably there that was there to work on her. In one, you know what I mean? In like 2 rooms, but everybody was collaborating and talking and giving their opinion, and it made her better. She was so excited to see that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I haven't seen the new setup yet. I've seen pictures, so I already know it's dope. I remember you told me when you were changing it up.
Yeah. Think about that, man. That was right before Corona. Like, God, the universe said do it, and I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, let me listen. And that was right. That's crazy, right? So, yeah.
Dude, wow. That's becoming a recurring theme here. I see the universe, listening to the universe and acting on it. That's
yeah. Literally, when I did that studio, I literally was thinking about it, looking at it. I priced it out, and literally the week of Christmas, before I was set to go to my parents' house, I fell asleep, which I never do. I've never done a long time, on the family room floor. Got up and checked my phone on Instagram, and the first thing I seen was, buy this, what you've been looking for, the Raven setup, for some super low price. And it was like, it's a Christmas 78-hour sale. And literally I got it probably about a third off from the original price. So I was like, you know what, it's Christmas. I just, bought my son this, these son, and my daughter. And I was like, you know what, I'll do it. So I just bought it. I didn't even hesitate. Universe wanted me to see it. I went, got my car, I bought it. It got here before I left to go to Christmas.
Damn.
And just imagine now this happened and no one can go to the studio, but I do one in the basement. Pretty cool.
That's dope. So take us through getting into Empire.
Okay. Well, I didn't really finish up. So let me go back. So Trey came around because while I was in New York running around the studios, I met Troy Taylor. Troy introduced me to Trey Songz. We decided to work on him together, getting him ready. And within within 6 months of managing Trey, I got him a bidding war between several labels. And that's how I met Trey, and I became his manager, and that's how we rocked out for 6 years. So that went from 3 albums to the Ready album, which is the third and his best album that was done in my house. So that's how I met that. And then after that, we separated, and then I ended up managing K. Michelle, who also got a deal with Warner Brothers that moved over to Atlantic. So then I ended up becoming an A&R for Atlantic, working on people like Trevor Jackson, the actor, what's the movie, the Nate Walker movie, The Birth of a Nation, soundtrack, while I was there. And that was cool. And it was kind of like, Atlantic was kind of like the label that like you kind of go through, you enter high school in the 9th grade, and then you graduate, and then you come back as a substitute teacher or a teacher in the high school that you graduated from. So it was great, and there's good and bad things with that because you're so familiar with the system and the people, and you kind of want to do something new. So while Ghazi had a joint deal with them, some type of deal, and I met him at the A&R meetings, our corporate meetings, and he said one day we're going to work together. So as soon as I left, it was like, me and Atlantic both decided that this probably wasn't going to be what we wanted to do anymore. He was like, come work for me, and then that led me to work in the Empire with him. I thought it was exciting because I used to tell Craig the new label is going to come out of the tech industry, right? And I would keep telling him that. And sure enough, this is what this was. And this was a guy that built this company in San Francisco, amongst right down the street, not too far from Apple, probably an hour from Apple or so, whatever that is. And Instagram is around the corner, Twitter, and you're in there where all the tech people are building these platforms, and here this guy is there. So all the curators of these platforms, imagine if you could just go to Starbucks and the person who might run the urban page for Apple might be there getting, a freaking frap. Yeah. And you like, oh yeah, I got this company. Can you help me out? Where, they go, yeah, we'll put you on the front page. We like it for at least a couple of days. And I never, we don't think about it, but when you think about it, you being on the front page of Apple Music will get you a lot of downloads and streams just because you're sitting there, right? And very smart man. I respect the hell out of him. And I got a chance to work for an independent that has major might, and to be able to learn a lot more of the technical background side of running a label in this day and time. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Everything comes the way it's supposed to, right? Because I came from this very musical side. Then I go to a company that, I go to a company that hasn't really dealt with the musical side, but more of the distribution side. So now there's this, okay, I got to learn this side, and it's all going to make sense in the end.
It's a perfect. perfect marriage.
Right. So it's pretty cool. I mean, there's sometimes we go back and forth. Like, I mean, because I think Ghazi hired me to be creative, and I think that that's cool. But a lot of times when you're in a tech thing, they're thinking about content volume, and I'm thinking quality. This isn't a right now thing. This may be a second or third project thing, and it'll explode. But we're developing, and not just our label, but any label really don't have the patience for that anymore. They want you to do that on your own.
Yes.
You know, yeah, they want you to do that on your own. And the problem is now, even though they want you to do that on your own, what's happening is that by the time I do get to that third project and build that fan base, and I get all that, when I do come for artists, now they want a lot of money because you watch me do this for a year. You've been watching me, and then it explodes, and now you want to get me for pennies. No, I need all that. I need a big bag.
Right.
So then you just become a bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, strategic.
Right. Yeah. So, but it's cool though. I mean, you know, you just gotta. The game changes every three months, every 90 days.
Every 90.
So I think about every 90. Yeah, I mean, shoot, 90 days. Let's go back 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago. Nobody was talking about TikTok, and then it became this whole TikTok, and then it started. You know what I mean? It's gonna be something else probably when we come out of all of this, and you got to know what it is that people are going to it and discovering music. So it changes.
Yeah, what do you? So
But it's changed now. We're in quarantine, so you got artists who was never super accessible that's on IG Live because they don't have a choice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed.
I was about to ask you, do you think that this is going to be a birth of more IG Live type of stuff like this, like we're seeing, or? I mean,
Absolutely.
This is the beginning of some. You're going to see like some real major productions coming out like that.
I think they're going to up the ante now. I think that IG, this is probably definitely got, because I know that when D Nice was DJing and had all those people, which kind of started this whole thing, I know that Mark Zuckerberg was actually in there, probably just seeing the analytics go like, who is driving all this attention? So guess what? There's probably going to be an IG platform again within IG that goes for artists can have, you know, better, more interactive stuff. You know what I mean? It's coming.
Yeah, now, shoot, man, you got the innovative juices flowing now, because now you start thinking about one of the things I was thinking, you know, with the brass band, we were talking about, now we're not together. There's some brass bands I've seen in New Orleans doing some live, Instagram live things, but we're not all together. We got families. We don't want to get together and bring something back to our family. So wouldn't it be cool where we could actually do a show live where we wouldn't have to deal with the latency? Now we're trying to figure that part out. You know what I'm saying? If there was a tool to be able to do that, that'd be awesome at a time like this.
Yeah, so you could have like Zoom and then you all guys are playing at the same time. That might be possible. That might be possible. I mean, yeah, but besides the latency, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, right now, my goodness, you know, you could almost have whatever whatever collaboration you want. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that'd be
right.
Nice. So you never know what could happen out of this. I mean, somebody might listen to this right here and go off and do something. I don't know.
Maybe.
I have to look into getting some developers together, bro.
Yeah. If you could get the latency down, I mean, it's coming. I mean, right now it's going to be a necessity because now the only thing that we do, they have ISD lines in certain ways where I think even Pro Tools might even have a program where you could co-collaborate at the same time. I think
there is one. I forget the guy's name, but I met him at ASCAP. 1 year, and he was doing this thing where you can actually collaborate in real time with other people on different. But this was something that was from DAW to DAW. So I'm working in Logic, and I can work with you in Logic, or work with somebody else, you know, at the same time on a live session.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
He does. Matter of fact, he just came out with a new version of it. I'm once I go back and look, I just got the email. I'll shoot it to you so you can check it out if you're interested in looking at that. But that's more of a production thing. I'm thinking, I don't know if it does. I guess you could use it for live performances as well. So I don't know. I got to look at how it works.
Yeah. That'd be good. Interesting to see that. That'll be dope.
So
yeah, that'd be dope.
what you got on the slate right now, man? What's popping right now? The things that you can't talk about.
I mean, the only thing I'm excited. I mean, I signed Afro B, the African who had Joanna, which opened me up to a whole African world about Afro wave and just stuff that's going on in Africa, which is amazing stuff. That I'm excited about him. We just dropped a new record with him and T-Pain. We did. I got Lele, the little girl rapper that I signed from Houston, but she lives here, that did the Old Navy commercial. She's gearing up for a new album, and I got a song I'm about to drop. I can't name who it is. I'm trying to get the deal closed, but it's going to be a great dance record. It's his record, but she'll be featured on it, but I think it's going to help both of them tremendously. Something I've been working on since COVID. Kevin Ross, I think, is one of the most talented songwriters, producers, the songwriters in our generation. And I think this is the time that I've challenged him to say, you need to write your what's going on. You need to write records that's relevant to the time. I think what's happened, I said, look, this COVID hit and there ain't no rappers on here. It ain't as many rappers with money on Instagram. They not talking all that rah-rah stuff because it's just not the time to do it. So I think we need to, I explained to him, I said, when there was famine in Africa and that was the big deal, they had We Are the World, right? When there was a movement of getting Martin Luther King birthday to be a national holiday, we had King Celebrate, right? And I was like, we need that record right now to keep people's spirits up and know that this is just, something we got to get through, and I find it interesting that Black people for the last 15 to 20 years, our music hasn't reflected what's going on around us. It's almost like our music is like an escape, less than, oh, well, this is going on right now and somebody needs to speak about it, right? So that to me is just crazy to me that we don't have that going on. Or not enough of it. That's
right. You got some you got a few examples, but yeah, you're right about it. You're right about that.
Right. Yeah, we got J. Cole, Kendrick. Kendrick, Earth Gang from Atlanta. That's kind of like the new Outkast, and a couple of others, but not enough on the forefront where back then stuff would just be in your face and you would hear it. It's just not enough.
Yeah, I feel you, and you know what though, this time is going to, it'll spawn more projects like what you're talking about. I think there's a lot of people right now thinking exactly what you're saying. They're in deep thought.
Right.
They're thinking man's game at this time.
Right. Yeah. I think it's all about, this time it's about sharpening skills. The reason why I was playing the guitar when we first connected this call was because one of my challenges for myself is to learn more chords, learn more techniques. While I'm sitting here, I got nothing but time. So there's, you work out every day, you run, you learn, you pick up the guitar, you learn more stuff, you learn more recording tricks by going on YouTube, outside of doing your job, communicating with your artists. It's just, I'm just using it to build other skills. So when we come out of here, it's just like the Phoenix,
Yeah, I was talking to a guy earlier, man, another entrepreneur earlier, and he was just basically saying, we basically were just saying that there are those who went into this period and they were like a deer in headlights and they froze.
Right.
Those people I feel sorry for, but the people who have those blinders and found out a way to get around it and doing what you're doing, sharpening those skills. You got that extra time. Don't don't spend it looking at CNN and all these people telling you the same thing every 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly what it is, too.
Get your 30 minutes in the morning, you know what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And then start sharpening that blade for sure. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You're right about that, man. I got caught. I think for me, and wrote songs before this come out, and I think for me, I don't see how nobody can't be inspired by going out and driving around. And I've been doing these little crazy videos, kind of like I'm Legend or Armageddon, right, on my Instagram, right? And yeah, just recording. It's with my phone, my iPhone, my GoPro, and a drone, and just getting these shots. And sometimes when I was taping some of this stuff, I'm like, wow, I'm at a mall that's a popular mall at 2:00 in the afternoon, and there's not a car in the parking lot. It looks like Armageddon. If you think about stuff, a mall is open 7 days a week, and it's always cars out there when the sun is up. Since we can remember, since we've been born, and that's not there. Walking past restaurants that are no cars there, there's just nothing. Seeing that stuff is really kind of standing still. But what I do see, like, which to me is a great song, is I see families for the first time walking as a family in the neighborhood, getting out together, walking around. I see people I've never met with dogs, and everybody speak, hey, how you doing? Even though it's from a far, safe distance. And everybody is looking for that comfort. You know what I mean? And they're relearning their families and what's really important. So that may be what's going to come out. Maybe people are going to prioritize their families a little different versus work.
I hope so. I mean, this one is, remember 9/11 changed us for about, 6 months?
Well, I was in New York. It was a long time in New York.
Yeah,
I was there when it happened. So up north, I was there and walked out my house and saw the smoke coming from the building. So that changed everybody up there for quite a amount of years. But if you wasn't there, it would be different.
Some of the night, well, up there probably it lasted longer, but like people bending over backwards, being nice, being more of that community type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess the further away you were from it, then the shorter that period of time lasted. But I think
absolutely.
I think this one here though, you can't get away from it.
Nah, it's the whole world.
Everybody touched by it. So yeah, I think you're right.
And it's the world. I was talking to Afro B. He hit me today. He's in London, and he was like, "Man, you safe?" And I was like, "Man, how is it in?" He's in Birmingham, England, which is outside of London. And he was like, "Man, I'm stuck in the house." He was like, so then I talked to my friend who was in Hong Kong. It's like, "Hey, how's it over there?" "I'm stuck in the house." I talked to my friend in Bali, a big artist, Afghan. I did co-A&R his project, and I was like, "Man, what you doing, Afghan?" And he was like, "Bro, I'm in the house. We're stuck in the house too here in Bali." And I was like, "What?" So this is a world issue at this point, right? So
if this ain't the great equalizer, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Luckily you married, man, with your kids in the house, man. For me, I took my daughter to my mom's house right when school got out. I decided before if they going to do martial law, shut down highways, I just drove up there and dropped her off. Reason I did was because I kept her for 7 days, checked her temperature, made sure that I felt like my best judgment that she wasn't a carrier. But, they're on 20 acres of land in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I felt that was the safest place to do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Things
stuff like that.
Right. So, right. I felt like that was the best place for her to be at this time. And I did that. And my mom was like, "You're not staying." I was like, "Well, I don't want to infect you," because outside of my daughter, I was like, I had stopped going to the gym 2 weeks before they even shut Atlanta down. Soon as it broke out, as soon as they started talking about it, I already started social distancing, right? So I was like, wait a minute, I done seen too many movies. I'm too prepared for this. So I literally stopped going to the gym 2 weeks prior to, and I love going to the gym, and I started working out at home. I started planting my garden early because I didn't know how the food supply chain was going to work. So, and it's dangerous to plant a garden so early because you can get an early freeze, but we didn't. Easter's this weekend. So now I got, all type of vegetables ready to go. I went and stockpiled bullets. I already had guns. I got like 1,000 rounds for each thing I own. I was prepared. I already had toilet paper. I had everything that I needed. So when all hell broke loose, I kind of just sat in my folding chair in front of my house and watched everybody run around because I was ready. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I was ready. So I just had to get her there. And then I was like, cool, I need to be here to protect the house, to see what I need to do for work, whatever I can do from the house, and to be able to protect the house. Just because usually I saw a report today on the news. after the shock wear off, that's when the criminals come out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that part.
Yeah, they just robbed some daggone gas station. Some 17-year-old guy came in with the little, regular little mask on, like they was COVID, and just robbed them. You know what I mean? I was like, so it begins. They're going to start with, businesses that are abandoned, that are abandoned, but that can't open, and they don't think nobody's coming through to check on it. And then it'll go to the other places. They'll go there for material. And then eventually, if they get hungry enough, depending on what's going on, if these stimulus checks don't hit, if, whatever, they probably already burned through their income tax. It's April, you know what I mean? It's April. So, and there's no job, and they already bought that little $3,000 car or put that money or whatever right before COVID hit. So I think that we're going to start seeing waves of that about to happen, and I just want to be prepared. I wish everybody safety, but
Dude, I did the same thing with the guns and the ammo, all that. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't plant. I was telling the wife today, I said we should have planted some tomatoes and bell peppers and different things that, you know what I mean? Because that's the stuff I found myself having to go to the store, because I'm the designated person going out once every 3 days to the store.
Got it.
So it's like, that's the stuff that you have to keep going back and get, the perishables. And if we just had a few things back there planted, we wouldn't have to worry about it, right? Exactly.
A couple of onions, you ain't even got to worry about all that. And the way your wife cooked, you would have it already back. It ain't too late. You can start now. I mean, you really shouldn't. This would be the weekend to start it by the almanac. I took a gamble and did it early.
Yeah.
So, and I won. I mean, I just happened to be blessed. Like the universe said, do it. I just did it. It's weird. I wonder was the same voice that we hear about the universe of what told you to leave is the same voice that Noah heard when they said build the ark. I'm just saying.
Probably. Yeah. But you know what? You sitting here, you say that, I'm like, yes, that is. It ain't changed all this time. It ain't changed. It's just that, whether or not you listen.
Yeah. Because I had to be pretty big of this voice and God saying, build the ark. And they'd be like, why? Like, just build the damn ark. And, or whatever. You just do it, right?
You get that.
So,
it's not just.
Right. Right. That's some funny shit. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. But, nah, man, it's cool, man. Yeah, man. But besides that, I think it's going to be a great time. I think a lot of great music is going to come out. I think some of our best writers and stuff that's around are probably already in the archives making records. And I think we're going to see a shift in music. I mean, people are going to want to party, but I think that it's going to change how we move forever, because for me, as much as I like to go out and have a good time, I can't see myself wanting to go into a crowded situation in the next year. In the next year, even if they say, yeah, you can go back to the soccer game, right? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to like, am I really going in the next year with all those people sitting in there? And no, I'm not. I can't. But I think this is a 2-year thing, maybe. Woo. Like as far as all of it, yeah.
The whole social distancing thing, because it's going to take some time before we can get a vaccine that's going to be able to stop this thing. Because it's going to, even though the social distancing thing and we're going to get it under control, it's still going to be out there, and we're still not going to have an answer for it.
Correct. Yep. So I think that it's going to change how we move. You know what I mean?
Got to.
Yeah.
Which means everything that's going on right now, man, keep listening to that universal voice, dude. It seems like it's leading you in the right direction, and you taking advantage of it. I didn't learn to do that fully until, what was it, last year? It's been a year now that I've been,
Right.
So, hey, it's scary. This shit is scary sometimes. I can't lie, but it's so much more rewarding when you get a win.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. Man, my phone never rung so much. This phone is ringing crazy today. I guess everybody, whatever, it's cool.
Man, shoot. Hey, I'm just glad I got this time with you, because I know you got, man, this has been a good one. This has really been a good one, dog.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, man. Anytime, man. It's not a big deal. I mean, ain't got nothing but time now, so it's like I said, it's no problem, man. It's no problem, man. It's no problem. You know what? I think too, man, and this is what I say when we get off, man. I think for me, and being in my house with just my dog, with getting my daughter out of here and not being married, for me, it makes you realize if you like yourself or not. Somebody asked me today, they was like, yo, you not lonely? And I was like, no. I was like, not trying to sound arrogant or asshole, but I absolutely like myself. So I talked to my dog, and I don't know if this is good or bad at my age and not being married, but I was like, no, I like myself, and I see people outside, and when I want to go to the movies, I go in my theater room and pretend I'm at Atlantic Station. You know what I mean? I want to be in a fancy hotel. I go in the guest room on the Sleep Number mattress, which is in there, and I act like I'm in the Intercontinental. Like, I wake up and it's a different look, you know? So I was like, for me, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, for now, you know what I mean? It's cool. You know what I mean?
What's deeper,
so
that also comes into play even when you're married, dog, because let me tell you another thing that you realize when this is how not only how much you like yourself, but also how much you like the people you live with.
There you go. Yeah, and I know that's got to be an issue. I mean, I got to be.
I will tell you, and you know, you've known me for some time now. I'm actually blessed that I actually like the people I live with.
Good. Yeah, that's cool.
I can only imagine that it's not going that way, you know, like everywhere. So that could. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is, even though things might be going good, you still got to be able to go steal off and do your own thing, because that'll drive you crazy being around people all the time too.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Right here is my little sanctuary when I'm in here. So, you know.
Right. So you got your space.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to, and you know, that's when you got to be able to do the same thing, steal away and get with yourself, man.
Right. Exactly. So it's all good, man. We on the same page. We on the same page, man. It might be cool. I might use you in my next thing, man. Maybe we'll do like one of these interviews, fake interviews. I don't know if I want it to be with me. Maybe I'll use you as me looking at footage of somebody saying that this virus is coming and get prepared, and like almost like a conspiracy theorist that was right on point. And I'm looking at your footage, like, you know, go to the door. You know what I mean? There's a and I can get this. So that might be kind of cool.
Hit me up, bro. Let's work, bro. Hey, that's what I'm doing right now, bro. Like, I'm doing exactly what you're saying. I think I need to ratchet it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing exactly the same thing you're doing, man. Using this time to get better and to work, and anything like that helps me out, because, you know, I'm just sharpening that blade, brother.
Yeah, that'll be cool. We'll do something, man. We'll figure it out. That'll be really cool. I got an idea.
No doubt. Hit me up, brother. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I got an idea. All right, man. I appreciate you, bro.
All right, Nuke. Thanks.
Yeah, man.